was gonna say it's a battle of the patented red hoodie versus the patented periwinkle blue. Am I seeing that color correctly?
Yes.
Some kind of bluish purple headphones. I feel like it's a clash of styles here.
Yeah, it is indeed. And we said it yesterday. If you're wondering why Joey Krafchick is allowed to, or why he is wearing those headphones, those noise canceling headphones, what is going on? Is he getting some sort of, feed into those ears? He has an exemption. Certain sounds give him very, very high anxiety. So that is why he's wearing those. He's trying to eliminate the bad sounds so they can focus on his games. Many players are actually wearing some form of ear protection, whether it be just earplugs or earphones, but you need to get an exemption. You need to have a valid medical reason, which Joey does have. So both players at 12 and 5, it seems. We don't have the results in electronically. We've actually been faster than the electronic standings, which you can see at the top of the chat. You can click those, see what's going on. But both players are 12 and 5. So Will in second place, Joey in third, Max still in first place, one game ahead of the field. Joey first to act. I hope we get a shootout this round.
Yeah, I think you asked me, Josh, what I thought would happen in this game, and all I could talk about was the headphones. In terms of what I actually think about is going to happen in this game, both players very high-powered, word knowledge among the best, so I would not be surprised to see a total shootout here.
All right, first rack for Joey Krafchick, A-B-E-I-O-T, and that M almost drew into a bingo. He just needed one more letter of the alphabet for Niobate, but he's going to very quickly play Biota. Joey, a fast player, quite an accurate player. This looks like a pretty good decision. You can play Ambit as well, but I like this.
I wonder if he just overlooked Biome. That feels a little bit better here, setting up the E and the triple fours AT leave.
Oh, you're totally right. Yes, Biome. A better play here, I would say, for sure. 4 extra points and a similar value of leave. So yeah, maybe a couple points left on the table with a 31-second decision for Joey Krafchick. We might see that again. He does play a little bit too fast still. He has slowed down, though, over the years. And Will with a very nice opening rack, A-N-O-R-S-V blank. He's going to be looking through that eye of Biota. He's already spotted Corvinas, which he'll probably play if he doesn't see anything better than that. Is there another double-double available? That's where he can score the most points.
It looks like he just has the one double-double, so nicely spotted within just a couple seconds of Biota coming down. That's at least one of his available double-doubles, but we know there is just the one, so far and away his best play. His next best plays would be about 20 points worse. So I think Will's just going to think about it a little bit. He's probably iterating through the alphabet relatively quickly to see if anything else jumps out, but he's going for this pretty quick.
Yes, he is. So Corvina's coming down for 90 points. Very early lead for Will Anderson. He's got to feel pretty good here. Back to Joey with E-E-M-R-T-U-Y. So seems close to a few things. You got the meter or metri suffix. Anything that he can do in response, or does he have to just bide his time for a turn?
Yeah, I think he's going to be biding his time a little bit. He does have that Y spot underneath Corvinas, but no other vowels that go under the S, so he's going to have to leave that one alone for a little bit. He is setting up what might be his best play of Bayer through the B of Biota. That scores 29 points, keeping EMT. I think, again, a pretty good leave. And I feel like this came up in a previous game, Josh, where we specifically said that EMT is good with an open A, and we see it happening right in front of us.
Yes, but also, I think we've seen this exact rack in a previous game.
I was going to say
Nigel's first rack against Mac?
It felt really familiar, but I didn't want to say anything in case I was wrong. But if it's not exactly the same, it's extremely close. Somebody wants to go back in the VOD and check it out?
I think it was E something. I'm pretty sure it was ET with Rumi through that H. That's crazy. Yes. Very, very rare that you see the same rack in Scrabble, unless it's a very high probability rack, such as like Etesian or Retina is our favorite. So yeah, some weird flashes into the past there. Back to Will with AADEFLW, a pretty nice and balanced post bingo draw. He's not going to have anything tremendous here though.
Yeah, there's no real hot spots for the F or the W. There kind of is one under ya for yaw, but that's really hard to hit. In fact, basically impossible to hit with the W, so not really a hot spot. He's going to have to get a little bit more creative here. He could do something like dwarf through the R of Corvinas. That intuitively doesn't feel like a hot spot. It feels like kind of a marginal spot on this board, but it does hit 2 double letter scores with reasonably sized tiles and keeps a good leave. So that is one option if he doesn't just want to play on top of Buyer.
Yeah, dwarf doesn't open anything, closes stuff down, keeps AEL, which is quite balanced. Definitely like that. You could also see few. That's what you're saying above the ER, but that does keep 2 A's. It's interesting. I'm curious to see what Will decides here. He's probably going to take a decent chunk of time, which is not something you really want to do against such a speedy player as Joey Krafchick.
Yeah, there's something to be said for not like changing your style too much based on your opponent. Like you should just kind of be treating all these experts as kind of the same type of expert. But when you're dealing with speedy players in particular, you don't want to take unnecessary time on early game turns. Like if you were to spend 5 minutes on your opening play debating things within 2 points of each other, that would be a bad decision. Definitely better to play quickly like we saw with Corvinas. One nice thing about Dwarf is it immediately starts restricting the most obvious consonants for 8-letter words, those being the R of Corvinas and the T of Biota. Starts moving towards a more close board, which would be in Will's favor, given that he has a pretty good sized lead already.
Yes, and if people were wondering, the previous matchup these two players had 2 rounds ago in round 16, Will won by a small margin, I think, of 24 points. So that's actually a pretty important thing. I feel like the psychology of having just lost to somebody might be pretty strong. I like this idea of declaw through that C, maybe. Just leave the board open, try to keep scoring. I'm not sure, though.
Yeah, it does set up your F kind of nicely if you have a draw that works out, or even if you don't have a draw that works out. Maybe it's nicer when your draw doesn't work out. You at least have a 26-point play there or something like that. It does sort of the opposite thing of Dwarf. It just maintains existing bingo lines and actually creates new ones, but does go a little bit deeper into the bag for the second blank. So I think I could take either one of these, Josh.
Yeah, very aggressive play, definitely, especially with the score line that they have, Will being up 41 points. But it's a really nice score, and it's the play that guarantees Will a nice score the most next turn. And he doesn't really have any reason to believe Joey has any strength on his rack. Obviously, when someone plays 5 tiles, then 4 tiles, they're most likely more balanced than usual, and so therefore more likely to do damaging things to any opening you create. But you too, you can draw something nice. Will has drawn pretty okay here, and Joey's gonna have to struggle a little bit to figure out how to respond to this play. Maybe plays meow for 27. Are we gonna get a cat cam, Charles?
I'm not currently on screen, so it would just have to be an audio cat cam of a cat desperately meowing to get away from me. But yeah, we might see a meow come down. You can just imagine the cat, my own cat, meowing in the background. That does seem pretty good. I don't love the leave of EGIT. It feels a little bit iffy to me, but maybe it's the best he can do on this turn. He doesn't have a ton of other scoring plays. Maybe something like Jamote, keeping an eye next to Declaw, just playing as many tiles as humanly possible. But that again seems a little bit aggro, sets up like the X and high scoring 4-letter plays, things like that. Meow is more biding his time.
Yeah, I wonder, I mean, at this point, Joey being down 70, he definitely is behind. He doesn't have an S, he doesn't have a blank, he doesn't really have a clear path to do anything. I think I like meow, sort of keeping EGIT, but there are 5 ends to draw for a potential ING. I know the G is a terrible tile, but I feel like that has to be better than Jamote. Like Jamote opens so much for Will, like increases the scores of plays on this side, opens this, opens the floaters, keeps a lone eye with so many more left to draw. I feel like that would be a mistake, but not sure what to do. Maybe Meg, keeping 4 1-point tiles, 3 of those being vowels. That looks really awful as well.
Yeah, playing short like that doesn't feel right here. I'd rather do something like meow. It's a little bit more balanced towards vowels and consonants. You still have the really straightforward lanes for sevens on either side of biota if your draw works out. You're also floating an E out in huge amount of space that's unlikely to get blocked in the near future unless there's a specific reason to block it. I suppose you could make little short plays next to the A of the claw, so now that I'm thinking about it, it can get blocked, but often stays open. So we see a totally different idea here, Gem. The same idea as Meg, I guess, but it opens up the top a little bit more for bingos, starting with a consonant and an E.
Yeah, just a 1-point sacrifice, leaving things open. I guess it's a sensible approach for Joey, but he immediately draws a second eye. Actually, he's drawn into Troy-Light. Okay. So that will fit pretty much no matter what. I think Will's going to play Fob here, keeping AINS, but the question is, Troy-Light is Joey's only bingo. What are we going to see after the sequence, Charles?
Yeah, there's some danger lurking for Joey that he might not realize, but he does have to take the bingo. I would say, like, it's kind of a matter of philosophy here. I would say his draw was bad, but the outcome was good. Just because he drew a bingo doesn't mean the draw was bad. It just happened to work this time with the T floating out in space. Fob is a nice scoring play. I think maybe Will's only option. And now we really just need to see what Will draws on his 3-tile draw.
That's a D. That's another N. And an E. So.
This is going to get hit.
This is going to get hit pretty hard, isn't it? So Troy-Light coming down.
Will's making a face.
For less than 60, or 60 exactly, and adenines. Triple. Game over pretty much. 140 for Will Anderson. Such a horrible outcome for Joey Krafchick after a couple slightly questionable moves at the start of this game. He's down 150.
Not counting Joey out quite yet. He does have 49 points for Zep next to adenines. Keeping a decent assortment of vowels and consonants that could work out for him in the future. As soon as next turn, he's still got that area around D claw to bingo off of, in addition to the A of biota and some floaters in Troy-Light. So he obviously needs a lot of help from Beg at this point, but getting a good Z play here while having bingo upside the next turn is about the best he can hope for. But he would really rather not have Will holding the second blank.
Yeah, with Ratafi about to come down potentially right here after Zep. This looks like a bloodbath in Will Anderson's favor. Joey considering Plotst as well. Zep has to be better than that. Both plays you don't really want to eliminate this space on the board. But from Joey's perspective, of course, he's down way too much. But this whole part of the board open for business. Normally we see the top left of the board inaccessible or not accessed in a Scrabble game. In this particular case, there's a lot of play left. A lot of stuff can still happen in Joey's favor. So he's going to play Zep. And had Will not drawn into this rack, who knows? Maybe Joey Krafchick bingos 3 times in a row on this board.
Yeah, there's definitely tons of upside on this board for many more bingos in the future. Unfortunately, that upside also exists for Will, and with the blank, he's going to find it a lot easier. His only bingos here are Ratafi in the spot you mentioned, Josh, and then Ratafi's off of the 2 R's in Corvinus and Troy-Light. So he's probably going to take the high-scoring spot. He just has to think about what he's setting up there. There's still 2 C's out. There's a P out. There's there's some stuff that can damage him here. There's 3 T's out, a V. I wonder if it's worth it here. It feels like it isn't, but maybe playing one of the lower scoring ones could be a consideration here.
Yeah, so this little illustration demonstrating the huge risk involved with playing Ratafi for 81, a 17-point improvement over just playing from one of those 2 Rs. I think I take the points here. I give Joey Krafchick maybe one chance to make something big happen to reduce his deficit to under 100. And after that, I feel like the dust will settle. But it's definitely a little bit scary to make such a huge, huge opening in a game where you are just so likely to win no matter what. So why not reduce the risk? Why not sacrifice a whole 17 points? Will might do that.
Yeah, he kind of has to do some thinking here. Like, how much better does Joey's average play get when he plays Ratafi on column 2? And is it somewhere near 17 points? It might be somewhere near there. And you have to think about the worst case scenarios where Joey bingo's ending in IC or something and then immediately draws another bingo. So you don't have to think about it, but I see, Josh, you're drawing on screen. There's also the chance of double doubles through the E after that position of Ratafi. So
that's good for the board state. If we have some horizontal action going on here, that eliminates a lot of the space. So I could have gone either way, honestly. I usually say don't sacrifice more than 10 points. When you're up 105, you can sacrifice points as long as you're winning the game. But Ratafi comes down. Joey does have the T and the V for this spot, but nothing fantastic. So,
well, he does have Vexed. That's actually 60 points. So I would characterize that as fantastic.
I don't know, man. I feel like when you're down 200 points, you need something more than 60.
Yeah, I guess, taking into account the score of the game, you would want more like 130 in that spot. He could do something like Lev and see if holding on to the X has any upside. He does have that new spot next to Ratafi to plunk the X down, so maybe he could try doing like a 2-turn thing where scores a lot with the V, then tries to score a lot with the X, and then tries to bingo. At this deficit, anything's kind of a long shot, so I'm not surprised that he's going to take the points here with Vexed.
Yeah, you have to do this. Like getting 40 for the X next turn, it's not going to do it. You need a bingo, and then you need another bingo. So we'll see if he gets that. Will has drawn ADNORRT. I don't think he's going to have anything fantastic here, but I think looking to play next to the FEE, excuse me, while he turns the board, something I'd consider maybe ORRA at first glance.
Yeah, definitely something like Aura or Orad in that spot feels very strong. It just, you don't have to worry about Ratafis anymore. You don't have to worry about whatever 50-point plays might exist to the left of Ratafi. And he doesn't really have any other obvious places to score. So even absent all those other considerations, if he's just purely thinking about scoring, again, that's the area of the board he's going to be zeroing in on.
Indeed, with those 2 S's still remaining, the biggest threat to Will here is a big bingo with Ratafis. So something like ORRA, ORAD. The main issue with those plays being they leave Will vowel-less, but with 17 vowels remaining out of 38 tiles, that's pretty nice for your chances to draw at least one vowel. When you're ahead this much, you don't want to leave yourself vowel-less, just in case Joey does something desperate and tries to open a spot you can't deal with. But yeah, Will's going to go with Aura. Actually, Aurad's probably better. It limits overlaps that open this area, and it limits AS bingos, which is something you want to be thinking about. There are no DS bingos that Joey could possibly have, I think. So I think a small mistake, leaving 3 points on the table, giving Joey small chances back into the game, but I don't think it's going to matter. EHIJLOS, ISO Hell was Joey's idea before this play. What now?
Yeah, he's got the J, no big J hotspots apparent at this point. I think something like jog possibly to the G of gem could just be an easy way to move on from the J and try to bingo. Maybe jig, actually, we see Joey, I think, grabbing those 2 tiles. There's a lot of eyes unseen, so maybe jig just a little bit of an improvement. I don't see any way to do any kind of crafty, oh, that was kind of a pun, crafty J setup. So he's just going for the dump the J and try to bingo next turn, which I think is maybe his only option here.
Yeah, I don't know if there's anything Joey can immediately draw from AS. He would need 2 S's for assholes, but he's not going to get that. There is only 1 S remaining from his perspective. He's drawn a second H, and Will has drawn 1 vowel, but some clunky stuff to go with it. C, D, D, I, K, N, T. What does one do here? Is re-tick a word? Is that what
he's looking at? Yeah, he's looking at tick in that area.
Yeah, no retick, just tick here. Makes a lot of sense. You don't want to necessarily give Joey a tile to play from, but if you're going to do that, a K, very difficult to work with in most cases. And this scores incredibly well. That's like 40 points.
Yeah, that was a 37-point play. And the K, while it's a little bit concerning at this score, you can withstand a bingo from the K pretty easily. There's not too lot of the pool is kind of dwindling. It looks worse and worse. There's still 3 U's, a W, a Y, a Q. So the chances of Joey bingoing 3 times at this point seem pretty remote. So Will's feeling very secure here with his lead.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Joey has given up here at this point. Like, it's so late in the game already. He's down almost 200 points. I'm surprised he hasn't even made a play yet. But yeah, I mean, obviously we know Joey to be a fast player. Will usually takes his time, but he's been playing quickly. He's been playing accurately, and Will Anderson, of course, Blitz champs champion. So if he needs to put on the gas, he can, and I think Joey knows that. So there's really no need for any shenanigans here. Joey's just going to try to reduce his losses to as small a margin as possible. And to do that, I don't know, play off an H somewhere, play HO, HA. What are you seeing here, Charles?
He could go all out for points with something like Lash, making buyers sort of give up on the S temporarily. There's still one to draw. The S doesn't do a whole lot other than biotas on this board. I guess it also does trows. So it is marginally helpful, but it's not going to guarantee you a bingo on this board. I'd be sort of just looking to score points at this point, try to drag my score up a little bit. And if a bingo happens accidentally in the meantime, so be it. But yeah, I think I agree with you, Josh. Joey is probably resigned to the loss for this one. It's just, there's not enough high scoring spots on this board anymore. His letters aren't quite good enough. He can't really do anything with his H's that helps him out a lot. In fact, I don't see any way to score more than like 20 with an H. So it's not looking good for him at all.
Yeah, and maybe if there was some 9-letter word ending in za, that would be a maybe crazy desperation thing to go for. You would probably be able to find those better than me. Charles is very, very knowledgeable of the 9-letter words. I don't see anything that Joey can go for. I guess there's some decision you want to make about maybe leaving this ED open as well, but Lash scoring so well. That is 39, I believe. Pretty much the best he can do, and he's just got to hope for something huge here.
So I did look up the 9s ending in ZA. We've got affluenza, influenza, lespedeza, and mycorrhiza. That's all he's got to go for there. Mycorrhiza does involve an H. Actually, it might still be in the bag. I think, yeah, all those letters are in the bag, so maybe he just fishes for that for the rest of the game.
Yeah, mycorrhiza. How many points does that score? MY, right?
Yeah, MY.
Oh my gosh. Dude, I think that's 146, if my math is correct, but not in the cards anymore. Will Anderson with DDINNOQ. He is considering playing Dino, or Dinos, excuse me, to this S. Look how great this play is. It just completely destroys any chance or any likely chance of Joey accessing that bottom right of the board. Beautiful decision by Will. He does have the Q though, but pretty likely he'll be able to play it here if he needs it. There's still 2 U's or 3 U's to draw maybe from Will's perspective. So I don't think he's going to be stuck with the Q, and even if he is, he's not going to lose. He's up so many points to Joey with EEHIMOU. Still hasn't drawn anything of note from this K hitting that triple.
Yeah, and I wonder if there's some KH bingo that he could try to go for here. That would be a nice scoring play. He's down by 145, so maybe if he scored 100 and Will had to play the Q for 11, there's some very outside shot that this still works out for him. But he would need that play to happen this turn, I think, and it's not happening this turn. He's going for Auri, which is kind of unfortunate. It blocks that R for bingos, but with so many vowels and not a lot of other exciting options, I think it's just kind of moving on from this game with that play.
Indeed, and Will has seen a U draw and an S draw, so he does have Shuk if he wants it, maybe making biotas. He also has probably a lot of other options that don't play the Q and hope for some other vowel draw for a potentially better play. Doesn't really matter what he does here, but I guess the value of Shuk isn't so great because it allows bingos underneath while blocking bingos to the left of that A. I wonder what he's going to do here. He's probably going to do something pretty good. He has the last S. Maybe you play something here, but clip. That takes a T.
Yeah, I was thinking with the Q and the U and the S together, he doesn't need to really be in a rush to play off the Q if he can do something like to make more value for his Q later. But yeah, as you mentioned, Josh, something like clip not only takes an S, but takes a T. He would need to figure out something where he holds the only hook available, which is a little bit harder to achieve.
But yeah, if Joey doesn't use the hook immediately, SUQ comes down for 41. So that is a pretty nice idea, I guess. But yeah, nothing great in the cards for Will. He's up 126. The result of the game already decided. 9 tiles in the bag. If he plays 3 tiles or more, Joey can no longer bingo more than 1 time. So SUQ coming down, 1 eye remaining for the potential danger underneath, but it's all academic from here.
Yeah, Joey actually does have a kind of clever play here. It's an 8-letter word, but not only using 6 of his tiles. We'll leave that as a puzzle maybe for Josh and the chat. That kind of would put a little bit of a flourish on a game that didn't quite go so well for him.
Yeah. I noticed in the chat, maybe I should use a different color for this illustration. Is this better for people? Hopefully I can make it as visible as possible for every user. Back to Joey with AEEMOTY. He can play an amazing word here, nicely found in the chat, tomatoey, which would completely empty the bag, but probably scores better than anything else he has.
Yeah, the engine does like that. It scores 30. He's not scoring 30 anywhere else on this board, at least not in a way that would be as nice for the board for his future turn as tomato is. So that would be a nice little play here. Actually, I don't know enough about Joey. If he gives up trying to find cool plays like that at the end of lost games, I know sometimes my enthusiasm for doing a full board scan is a little bit less when I'm down by 150. So we'll see if Joey can sort of overcome that malaise and find something cool.
But it even feels like it's not the best play. It's exactly what you don't want to do. Empty the bag completely, give your opponent full knowledge of your rack with no tiles in the bag, give them a nice way to potentially play through that E and go out in 2. It might not even be the best play, but it's certainly the flashiest and certainly a good way to say, okay, I'm done with this game.
And I don't think Joey has anything from the K, so we might actually reach the end of this game not seeing a play from that spot. It is was probably a little bit concerning. There were probably a few turns ago, there would have been a few winning sequences that involved that K, but it's sadly going to be ignored here. Sixes starting with a K are not super prevalent, so Joey does not have one here.
Yeah, he's looking to play off OY maybe here, or maybe Toyo. Yeah, I mean, this is obviously nothing good here for Joey Krafchick. But yeah, he's going for points, not emptying the bag. This doesn't create a lane for himself. It only creates 6 tiles as an opening for something with toy or something that he could draw. So he's just going to put that T on there. He sees how many consonants remain. No need to give Will a 2-word play on top of the OY. So I think this is a good decision.
Yeah, I think this is very right. Just not needlessly giving Will points on that triple because there's nowhere else for Will to score. So you don't want to give him a 30-point play for no reason.
Yeah, Joey drawing GGR, pretty much a regular draw with this very unbalanced pool of letters. Will is stuck with one consonant yet again. He's had one consonant for the last few moves. And there are 10 tiles in the bag, so we'll probably see Will make a 2-tile play, not quite emptying the bag, just letting Joey deal with uncertain knowledge of what remains. But I don't really know what 2-tile play you would make here. An engine would probably have a decent idea.
Yeah, if you play your 1 vowel, you're at risk of just entering the endgame with no vowels, which could put you sort of at the mercy of your opponent where they set up cool things that you can't do anything about. But then again, Will's up by a lot, so you wouldn't have to care too much about it. Really, like 2-tile plays here might be something like nip through the eye of jig. There's not a whole lot else to do just because there's so few vowels open.
Yeah, and I guess, yeah, Will was considering maybe briefly to play end to block that underlap of Suk. I don't think there's any threat unseen to Will. I don't think Joey could possibly bingo with these unseen letters, but that QI spot would be nice to block. Little does Will know, he's very likely, depending on how many tiles he plays, to draw that last I, which if he does draw, I'll be like, wow, that's very unfortunate. I think he's thinking about Phon, Phon, which does a decent job eliminating, I guess, some of the threats from this T. Leaves 1 tile in the bag. We'll see what he does. I think end would be a mistake. I would play something like Phon or Nip, maybe.
Yeah, the engine is suggesting just emptying the bag with Handel through the HO up top. I guess that almost entirely stops Joey from scoring up there. And then if Joey doesn't have the I, there's almost nothing that Joey can do. So that's kind of a tough play to make in practice. It keeps you with 3 consonants. And if you draw one, you know you're in an endgame with no vowels. So not surprised to see this come down playing 2 tiles, not emptying the bag, and also retaining the vowel.
But yeah, if you are going to empty the bag, something like Handel makes a lot of sense. There are many sequences that Joey can have, starting with a 6-letter word from that T in toy and going out next move. So something like this makes a lot of sense, doesn't eliminate those threats, but makes it a lot harder for Joey if he has a word there, which he does. He's going to play Tagger.
He should be going for Kegger here, probably. That feels
Kegger
like it
is
works
valid,
out.
isn't it? So regardless, I think I think he's made a very good move. Will has drawn that I, but nothing great to go underneath Shuk. Does he have anything? He has Kilned from the K, keeping CW. That might be his best endgame, but it's kind of ugly.
Yeah, Kindle or Kilned is a little bit ugly. He could do Inclined from the Eye of Troilight. Leaves him with just a W in case Joey decides. Then Joey would have to go out. That could also work out. Of course, I had the engine telling me that move. I don't know if I would have seen it as quickly as the engine did, but Will's in secure position here.
Yeah, incline looks great, threatening to go out next move. If you play kilned, Joey can play a little bit slower, although you are scoring a little bit more immediately. But yeah, all academic, like I said. Will Anderson is going to take down Joey Krafchick twice in 3 rounds to put him in a very nice position, solidly in second place, or maybe even first place, depending on how Mac's game versus Jackson goes. Probably not, though. Mac has 600 almost points of spread, more than Will Anderson does. So yeah, regardless of what happens here, it feels like Will is going to either be in second or third. Actually, Kenji Matsumoto jumping into second place with a similar spread of 1070 to Mac Meller's 1136 after last round. So if Kenji wins against Carl Johnson, he will be in second or first place. Will either in third or second after this game. Going into the lunch break. So Charles, this is going to be it for our brief encounter on the hot mic. But I'm hoping you had a good time on this neck of the woods. But I hope people will check you out this afternoon on the Let's Play Scrabble stream.
Yep, once again, gotta plug the 2 simultaneous streams going on for the first time ever. Colin's action going on at the Let's Play Scrabble YouTube channel. I will be there this afternoon. I think I'll be there tomorrow afternoon, and also doing the best of 5 finals that's going on in Collins. So everybody out there currently watching, if you know how to operate a computer at all, you know you can have 2 windows open at the same time. And you've got to have both streams open at the same time. More viewers for everybody, even if you're not actively watching both. Just makes our numbers look better, makes YouTube like us more, all those good things. This is the kind of stuff we need to keep doing if we want Scrabble to grow. So everybody open as many browser windows as your computer can possibly handle.
That's a great suggestion. That's usually what I do when multiple Scrabble streams are happening at once, but there never has been a situation where 2 incredible high quality Scrabble streams are occurring at the same tournament at the same time. This is an awesome moment for our community. So please do check out the Let's Play Scrabble channel. You can even contribute to these live streams by becoming a super friend. There are many of the members of Let's Play Scrabble's community that have already given some money to the cause, and everything that is given to that channel will be contributed to future tournament Scrabble streams. As Joey comes to the conclusion of his unfortunate loss to Will Anderson, he should notice that inclined is being threatened. That little fun design I've just made. He needs to play something, I think, vertical, parallel to inclined to block. It's kind of hard. Line or tome.
Yeah, definitely. If he's paying close attention, and he hasn't played super quickly, so I think he is still paying attention to this game, trying to stop inclined, which I guess will probably just do Kindle at that point. And since Joey has only 1 tile left on his rack at that point, there's no danger of getting pinged and ponged for little bits of points here and there with an unplayable C. So I think Joey probably just doing a little bit of math to see how that works out for him.
Yeah, this is kind of interesting. Maybe you just play 1 tile. You can play toe or lie or tom to block inclined, and then maybe go out in 2 after that. Just play 1 tile at a time, since Will is going to be stuck with his C. But you have to be a little bit careful. You have to do some math. Joey doing some diligence. As we've said before, even though the game's result has long been determined, it's very important to try and extract every single point of differential, of spread, when you can in these tournaments, because at the end of the day, who's going to get into the finals? It's the 2 top players, and if multiple players have the same amount of wins at the end of the tournament, the tiebreak will be how many points of spread they have, how much the total differential is between their scores and their opponent's scores throughout the event. So Will's smiling, he's liking this end game. It's really interesting. I think you still play Kilned. Is Joey threatening to go out with Maybe not. Maybe you don't play Kilned. I don't know if there's anything else to do. Can you go out in 2?
Looks like Joey is threatening Moo on top of Fawn, or Mew, I guess.
Oh yeah.
So can't get too fancy here, Joey. I guess you could try to block it, but then you lose your 36 points for Kindle. So
that's unblockable.
Oh yeah, you're right. That it's pretty clearly unblockable. Nothing going on top of gem, and only certain vowels going on top of the P. So just let him have it.
Yeah, Kindle coming down, and I think it isn't even necessarily worth it for Joey to go out in 2 here. MU is 11 points. Can he get? I guess he can get 8 for the M here, and then for the U, what can he get? He can get 4. So I guess slightly better to just play
1 more point.
1 at a time. So 1 more point on offer for Joey if he decides to delay this endgame 1 more turn with Will's unplayable C. He will not be able to make a move next turn. Well, he can make a move. Where's the best place you want to put a C if you're stuck with it here? Do you put a C on Hurik? What's the most plausible phony you can
I think I go for Kun here, C-U-N. I've wanted to play that so many times.
Kun, yeah. Yeah, it's a very cunning play. And if Joey makes a mistake and shows Will his final tile after that play, the game actually ends. Joey would have to challenge the play off the board before showing Will his tile. So that's a little weird rule for you guys while we're waiting for the end of this game. But this will take us into the lunch break. We will be back at 2:30, I believe, unless they made an announcement for 2:45, 2:30 p.m. Eastern with the final 3 rounds of day 3. Things are starting to heat up in this game, or in this tournament, in this national championship in Maryland. And I'm curious to see what will happen in the last 3 games today and the final day tomorrow before the finals. There are 10 rounds left after this tournament, or sorry, after this round. As up comes down, let's listen to the postmortem between these two, if there is any.
At 397. Would that be possible? Do you have 301 after?
Oh yeah, I did 6 twice. Sorry.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
397
to 524. Yeah. What can you do?
Some check words.
Think you possibly missed something?
Nah.
Sure not.
Yeah, Biota left EM. Buyer left EMT. Gem was tough turn. I had EIOT. My options were like Gemote, which is shitty, put the O there, E there, leaves an I. It's 25 or whatever. I could play Midgets for 22, leaving EO. But with the R floating, I figure Gem is like a reasonable idea. EIOT sucks, but it's the best of all the shitty options.
Could be.
It worked out, sort of.
Yeah. Well, short term. Just had the goods. Yeah. All right.
Well, I'll see you after lunch.
Yeah. Sounds good.
All right, a brief postmortem there. Joey definitely disappointed, doesn't know what he did wrong. There were a couple of turns where he could have made a slight improvement. The opening turn,
Very hard
if we can get that muted. Yeah, the opening turn, maybe playing Biome instead, and the gem turn, I think Joey missed the option of Meow. He didn't mention it in the post-mortem, but those are very small mistakes, if mistakes at all. So very unfortunate result for Joey. Great result for Will Anderson. We have a lot of Will Anderson fans in the chat. So yes.